what's really going on, back up what I be saying.
Yeah.
Because I know what I say sound crazy. I don't know what. It do sound crazy, but it's true. That's the bad part about it. It's true.
Alrighty.
So.
You got your fan. Yeah. Everything look good.
And,
Let's see.
let's put this tissue here. Now the water can sit there. So I'm ready.
Alright, here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action.
Well, hello. I got this fan up today because the stuff I found out, oh, is eye popping. Oh, people, get your water because you're going to get extremely hot and upset when you hear what I have to explain to you today. Now, I don't know if you know Representative Steve King, but he's a Republican from Ohio, and he's always getting in trouble because he's white. Well, you know, he was saying he like himself, and he hang out with some white people, and so they call him a white supremacist. That's how crazy people are now. You can't like your own self, and you can't hang out with your own people. Latest thing he's done, bless his little heart, he said that would the world exist if it wasn't for incest and rape? And you know everybody went nuts. About 5 of the Rhino Republicans, Rhino, that's Republicans in name only. Oh my God, they raised sand all over the internet. You know, the Democrats, oh crazy Steve King, all this stuff. But you want to know the truth? Steve King was right. The only thing that was wrong was the fact that he should have said some religions wouldn't exist if it wasn't for incest and rape. Because the people in the United States, us girls over here, we're not trying to go date no cousin. We be trying to find some fine dude and hope we don't even know him. Like the Kardashians. They be trying to find the finest black dudes out there, especially if they got some money and can bounce the balls. We don't play that relative stuff over here. So that was where he made his mistake, and I've called his office, and I've called all the rhinos. Yeah, you guys, the one who watch my shows all the time, if you watched that April show for, it was the April show for 2019. You only had to go over about 5 or 10 minutes, and you saw the incest. You saw after a certain period of time, if you keep replicating the same genes, it's called rat people. And they got big ears and they're worshipped. People pay money to the parents to buy them. Then you saw the birth defects. Do you remember the one where the baby's eyes were blood red and his body was green and he was just a hideous little thing? But they were praying. It's almost unbelievable. So Steve King was right, and I have told the Republicans and the Democrats to educate yourselves. Google Muslim Islam incest. In fact, on that April 2019 show, there's a chart on there. These people told you who doing it. It's not America. Even the United Kingdom, 55% of the Muslims there are incest. Could be more. In some areas, it's 70% incest. So I just wanted to clear that one up. And I just had to clear that one up. So I don't know if you heard about it, but go to the April 2019 show and see the truth that Steve King was right. Incest and rape is a part of a lot of the religious communities. the Muslim and the Islams. They're the only ones the world know that do that. So he was, correct. But if he had a said Muslim, they would say, "Oh my God!" He's like, "Oh." So that's what I gotta say about that. And let's move on to something else here. Let's move on to Trump and Elijah Cummings. Trump had to call out Elijah Cummings. Well, Elijah always beasting on other people, especially Border Patrol time. They running detention camps and it's filthy and it's nasty and you wouldn't want your kids there. He says all these things and then he be screaming and yelling at these people who got to protect our border. So Trump said, "I don't know what you're talking about. What about your rat-infested, deteriorating Baltimore? And you haven't done a thing to clean it up." So what we're going to do now, we're going to run clip number 1. It's called Rats. And you're going to see, it's about a 1.5-minute clip. And you watch all these rats come running out from under the garbage can. Clip number 1, the rats of Baltimore.
Oh! Pull up! Pull up! Pull up! Back up! Pull up! Jesus fuck. Motherfucker. Come this way, Mark. Oh! Oh!
Yeah, you see that? You saw it? And then when Mr. Trump pointed out all this stuff, oh my God, he's a racist. Oh, they're not looking at the fact that they done stole billions of dollars from the citizens of Baltimore. And Baltimore is Maryland's one of the richest states. But look how Elijah Cummings and the black leaders got the black people living in despair with nothing, no training programs. The schools don't have light and water, nothing. And you call Trump a racist because he points that out. So here's what the Trump crew did. The people who like Donald Trump, they got together, about 200 of them. They were led by a young man, and they cleaned up Baltimore. They moved about 12 tons of trash in less than 24 hours. Let's roll that clip and watch Trump's crew clean up Baltimore. Roll it.
And as President Trump highlights the problems of inner city like Baltimore, his supporters respond by holding a citywide cleanup day. One America's Jack Posobiec was there and has this report.
It was a hot day here in West Baltimore as the Americans Helping Americans group, led by activist Scott Pressler, came here to help clean up the streets. They focused on a variety of alleys. Over 100 volunteers coming out to help this city and to help these streets after this district was specifically highlighted by President Trump and its representative Elijah Cummings. Hopefully they say that this will be the start of a new organization and a new activist movement moving forward for Americans helping Americans.
I never intended for this to be such a big event. I never realized it would go nationwide and that people all over the country would want to help out. But I was inspired first by, President Trump retweeting Kim Classic's video of that viral Baltimore video of the local residents saying they wanted help. They wanted people to come help clean up the city. And so I put out a simple tweet out there. I said, I'm going to come to Baltimore, even if it's just me standing on a street corner picking up trash. And that tweet went viral. I never thought there would be such an outpouring of love and affection. And people from all over the country said, Scott, how can I donate? How can I contribute? What can I do to be there with you in Baltimore to pick up trash?
This is my home. And so when the president was tweeting about Maryland and then, different Democrats and people were shooting back at it, I was like, well, why don't people want to, attack the issue at hand? Why is it him bringing attention to this such a problem? So when Scott Pressler announced that he was going to launch this whole Baltimore cleanup thing, I was like, yeah, send me the details because I will definitely be out there. And looking around, it is so amazing. We got food, we got drinks that people donated. We have local people coming out to help. Personally, I filled about, I think, 5 trash bags this morning. I've been here since 8 a.m.
And it was awesome to see efforts like this with folks that came from so many different states that drove for hours to be here to be a part of this effort. I'm running for mayor here in Baltimore because I believe it's time for people to be a part of the solution. If you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem.
What do you think of the president's comments recently highlighting Baltimore?
Well, I think it was right because, they're talking about him, they make disparaging remarks about him and, and they attack him. And so, and he comes back and say, well, look at this, look at that. He pointing out the ills of the country. You know what I mean? Why are we attacking each other? Why are we calling each other names? Why we want to fight? Why we want to divide and conquer? Why don't we come together like right now what we doing in Baltimore? We out here trying to make a difference for the whole country.
Your tweets, your videos, your media appearances really sparked a lot of what's happening today, today's street cleanup. Tell me, how do you feel about that and how do you feel about where the neighborhood's going?
I mean, this is amazing. For Scott Pressler to put this together is huge. I try to reach out to local officials multiple times, especially Congressman Elijah Cummings, and no one responded. And within 2 weeks, Scott Pressler has a bunch of volunteers here, and they're cleaning up, and people in the neighborhood are actually happy about it. And they're talking about how happy that Trump tweeted or retweeted what I tweeted out, and that it's gotten this recognition nationally. So this is a great thing. I think this is a step in the right direction.
Everybody that's watching and they're at home right now feeling inspired by the story, don't just try to contribute to the work that I'm doing, but contribute locally in your city. Literally go out to a park, your street corner, go pick up trash.
All right. Now, let's get to El Paso. You remember I've been telling y'all, these white people gonna have to beat somebody butt. And in the Constitution, you're protected. If you're doing anything to abate or stop or assuage or whatever, or suppress rebellion and insurrection, you're supposed to get a bounty. That's Amendment 14, Section 4. And Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15 says Congress is supposed to call out the militia for insurrection and invasion. So all this stuff these immigrants are doing in America against ICE and all that stuff is insurrection. And coming across that border without permission is rebellion and insurrection, and Congress is supposed to call forth the militia. But what does Congress do? They invite them in and pay them with your money. So some people got upset. One young man, he lives in El Paso. He grew up, and by the time he got grown, El Paso, 83% illegals. Everybody in El Paso is illegal. Oh, some of them think they got citizenship, but it's all fake. You've heard me say this before. So he just went off on them one day. He wiped some of them out. Wiped up, what, about 20 or 30 of them. But in the Constitution, he's supposed to get paid because they're committing rebellion and insurrection against the laws of the United States Constitution. So since Congress is supposed to call out the militia, I guess he's just a mini militia. And I ain't mad at him. Roll this clip. Watch him. Watch all these Mexicans. It looked like he's running all of them out of the United States. They were screaming, ah, ah. You know, I'm not mad at him because they didn't come here under the laws of God. They came here under the laws of United Nations. That's not our God. So roll that clip and watch the mini militia do what Congress supposed to been did long time ago.
Hands up! Follow the line out there. Go ahead, come on, let's go. Keep going. Run out that way. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Run out that way. Hurry up. Hurry up. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Hands up. Hands up.
Here, over here. That way. That way. Yeah, that way. No, no, you can't go to your card. You gotta go that way.
Yeah, see, I used to live in Texas. I used to live in Florida and California. They will beat your butt, those foreigners. They'll walk up to you if they don't like you, and they will just start choking you, cussing you out, and they tell you they own Congress. So I'm not mad at him. No, if I had some money, I'd pay his bail. So let's move on now to some more mess. Rashida Tlaib again. Well, you know, she think, her and Omar, they think Israel gonna let them into their country I don't have to tell you what all they've said about Israel. I don't need to tell you. Because if you don't know that by now, then there's no hope. So you all know. How that look? Somebody been going around talking about you like a dog. Talking about they going to have you thrown out of this. And then they going to invite themselves to your house. So they did the right thing in not letting them in. I was so happy that they didn't. And Rashida, I want you to watch this clip. It's about 30 seconds long. You're going to see her acting like a crazy woman and getting thrown out of a Trump meeting. And then you're going to see the clip of where she called Trump an MF. Roll that clip and see why they didn't want her. She would have went to Israel and did the same thing. She might have had a crew there waiting on her. So they did the right thing. Roll that clip of Rashida, clip number 4.
I will say that Bernie Sanders gave a
You guys are crazy!
You're an animal! Get a job!
You guys are crazy! You're an animal!
Bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't. Because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the mother.
Rashida! Rashida! We are all Rashida!
If I can do. Honestly, I've never felt more Palestinian than I ever felt in Congress. Even in Palestine, when I'm visiting my grandmother, I'm more American, like to the Palestinian. But I'm more Palestinian in the halls of Congress than I am anywhere in the country, in the world. And that just tells you just the fact that they weren't ready for us. They really weren't, but we were ready for this.
Because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they aren't racist. And it is insensitive that someone would even say, it's the fact that someone would actually use a prop, a black woman, in this chamber, in this committee, is alone racist in itself. Donald Trump is setting a precedent.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that her words be taken down.
President, I reclaim my time.
Mr. Chairman,
Trump is setting a precedent.
Mr. Chairman,
that the highest office can be attained.
Mr. Chairman, the rules are clear.
Activity. Mr. Chairman, I yield the rest of my time.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that her words, when she's referring to an individual member of this body, be taken down and stricken from the record. I'm sure she didn't intend to do this, but if anyone knows my record as it relates, it should be you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to...
Hold on.
I want the words read back.
No.
We want to know exactly what she said about a colleague.
Excuse me. Would you like to rephrase that statement, Ms. Tlaib?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can actually read it from here. Just to make a note, Mr. Chairman, that just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they are racist. And it is insensitive that someone would even say racist, say it is racist in itself, and to use a black woman as a prop to prove it otherwise. And I can submit this for the record. If a colleague is thinking that that's what I'm saying, I'm just saying that's what I believe to have happened. And if, as a person of color in this committee, that's how I felt at that moment, and I wanted to express that. But I am not calling the gentleman, Mr. Meadows, a racist for doing so. I'm saying that in itself, it is a racist act.
Well, I hope not, Mr. Chairman, because I need to be clear on this particular... Mr. Chairman...
Mr. Meadows, wait a minute.
I've defended you with false accusations.
Mr. Meadows, I'm the chair.
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you. Right. I will clear this up. Now, Ms. Tlaib, I want to make sure I understand. You were not intending to call Mr. Meadows a racist, is that right?
No, Mr. Chairman, I do not call Mr. Meadows a racist.
No,
I am trying, as a person of color, Mr. Chairman, just to express myself and how I felt at that moment. And so, just for the record, that's what was my intention.
All right. All right. Mr. Meadows.
Mr. Chairman, there's nothing more personal to me than my relationship. My nieces and nephews are people of color. Not many people know that. You know that, Mr. Chairman. And to indicate that I asked someone who is a personal friend of the Trump family, who has worked for him, who knows this particular individual, that she's coming in to be a prop, it's racist to suggest that I asked her to come in here for that reason. Mr. President, the president's own person, she's a family member. She loves this family. She came in because she felt like the President of the United States was getting falsely accused. And Mr. Chairman, you and I have a personal relationship that's not based on color. And to even go down this direction is wrong, Mr. Chairman.
First of all, did you have a statement, Ms. Salib? I'm going to yield to you. We need to straighten this up.
Mr. Chairman, and to my colleague, Mr. Meadows, that was not my intention, and I do apologize if that's what it sounded like, but I said someone in general.
Hey, you see what I mean? Who gonna let her and that crazy Omar into their nation? Oh, it could have been a mess. We would have been embarrassed. So they didn't get to do that. Now let's move on to Nikita Khrushchev again. You remember Nikita? Well, we can't forget him because he's the one who started this unconstitutional immigration. You remember we explained to you already how he changed all the laws from the constitutional immigration into communist. And that's where you get your asylum, amnesty, refugee, TPS, DACA, and give them money. It's not in our Constitution of God. See, our Constitution was instituted by men of God. God ordained them to come out from over in England and start a new land, and that's what they did. Unfortunately, nobody would help them, so they had to go over to the slave markets, and they bought people. They didn't kidnap people. They actually rescued. Those slaves were rescued than anything else, if you know the whole story. If you saw the May 2019 show, you know the story. So what's happening is this is all Nikita Khrushchev's hostile takeover of the world. Y'all remember you saw the clip of him beating his shoe on the table, saying he taking over the United States capitalism and the globe? You think he was playing with you? No. The Hart-Wheeler Act by Senator Philip Hart of Michigan and Emanuel Wheeler of Texas, that's what it is. The Hart-Wheeler Immigration Nationality Act of 1965 isn't worth the paper it's written on. Everything in it is a lie. It is not the law of our God that we pray when we say one nation under God. It means the God of the Christians. Everybody's welcome, but it is the God of the Christians, okay? Now, what we're living under is the United Nations God. It's another God. God told you, have no other gods before me. That's why one of the biblical reasons why we can't be in the UN and in the Constitution is two main reasons. Article 6 say almost the same thing the Bible say, that all laws of the United States got to follow the Constitution, even the treaties. Then Amendment 14, Section 3, that is your oath of office when you swear to uphold the laws of the United States Constitution and you will not engage in rebellion and insurrection against it. That's the deal, people. This other things that we're doing is not in the Constitution. I heard one of the Catholic foreign bishops, Gomez or Gonzalez, Nelson Gonzalez, talking about, oh, God loves everybody and God loves us. No, he don't. No. If you don't come by the law of the land, God say come by the law of the land. They are not coming by God's law of the land in the Constitution. They're coming by another God. I don't know what his name is. It's not Allah, because you remember the imams told us that Allah ain't in this mess that these Western Europeans, the Western and European Muslims do. Y'all remember the imam January, and y'all remember the apostate. He comes on from time to time and tell you this is not Allah ain't in this mess. I don't know who the God of the United Nations is. So I guess it could be, I'm not going to say Satan because Satan get mad. Every time something bad happens, y'all say he did it. Well, I don't want to say Satan, and I don't want to say the devil, frankly, because I don't believe in either one of them. So I need somebody to tell me who is the God of the United Nations, because it is not our God of the Constitution. It's like you wouldn't write a law to let people come in your house and take all your children's food. Well, that's what the law of the United Nations does. That's what it does. So we got to recognize here that they trying to serve two gods. Can't do it. We're going to get back to the God of the Constitution. We got to leave this other guy alone. It's going to take us a few more minutes, but he going to be gone. So I'd like for you just to look again at Nikita, how he started. This is a hostile takeover of the United States by the UN immigration laws. This is not immigration. It's a hostile takeover. Roll that clip. We got two of them today. What you're going to be seeing, you're going to be seeing the clip of Khrushchev, and then there's going to be a plaque that he sent out all over the world. So roll that clip, roll those two together so that people can see Nikita beating his shoes on the table. Then he gonna explain it to you. Roll it.
We will bury you. The partial quote is history on our side, we will bury you. This was said by the Premier of the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, on November 18, 1956. This took place at a reception in Moscow. Khrushchev threatened capitalism and gave a warning to Western leaders. He says that communism will overcome and become dominant all over the globe.
Right on. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Did you see what he said? He said you won't even know what hit ya. And you guys don't know, because he made sure that they took that